Alright, thanks for tuning in to this video. This is going to be a review of 12.3, which was composite figures and how to find the area and the perimeter of a composite figure. Before we start, I just want to review what a composite figure is. A composite figure, if you look in the, if you want to break apart the word, there's the root is, which is, compose. If you look at that, why is that working? If you look at the root word in composite, it's compose. And if you compose something, like I always think you're like making something or making things up of different things. So a composite figure is a shape that is made up of other shapes. Usually it would be a rectangle and square. So like, as you remember, composite figures are something like this, where you are like, oh, I have there's a shape there, there's a shape there. You would have different shapes within one bigger shape, okay? So, as a review, perimeter is the amount of space outside, like a fence, of a shape, and you would add up all the different sides. In the past, we've done side plus side equals the perimeter, because when you have a square and you have a rectangle, there are 4 sides, but obviously in a composite figure, there's more than 4 sides. So you're going to do side plus side plus side plus side plus side plus side, or however many sides that there are. The number one issue with this is, first of all, they're going to give you a shape like this one, and they're going to give you some missing sides where you have to figure out what that side is first before you add it. So what I always do is I do that first. I make sure. So I have, this one says 8, correct. This one's 12, we're good. This one, oh, this one's a question mark. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to think. Well, right here, they have 3. So I know that E to F has to be 3. And then if this is 3, I know that this is also 3. And then if you look here, this is 8, so I know that this also has to be 8. And then I kind of put them together, and 8 plus 3 gets me to 11. So then I can erase that, and I know that this is actually 11, okay? Now I have that one, that one, that one, and the only other side I need is A to F. And again, I know that this is 3, so this has to be 3. And I know that this whole line is 12. So I kind of am trying to chop off this 3 so I can see how long this line is right here. And 12 minus 3 is 12, 11 to 9. So I know that this has to be 9 yards, okay? So when I'm checking this, I'm trying to add up all of these sides. The number one mistake kids make is that they forget a number when they're adding. So I always tell them to get a highlighter, and then as you go, you can highlight the numbers and see if you have it. So on a test, I would use a highlighter. So if, like, say I were going to add these numbers, I would start here and I would highlight, and then I would write down 12, okay? Then I would highlight, and I would write down 11. Obviously, I would not write with my highlighter on the test. I would write with the pencil, but it's kind of a pain to switch on the smartboard. Highlight 3, and I would write 3. And now I'm going over this way. Oh, there's another 3. And now I'm going up. That's 9. And again, I don't care about this 3 over here because that's not part of the shape. And then the last one is I have an 8. Once I have all of those numbers, I would actually have to check them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So then I would add them all together. And when you add them all up, you would get 49 or 46. So your answer, the perimeter, would be 46 yards. So all these problems are kind of multiple steps. First, find all the unknown lengths, then add them all together. But be careful that you don't miss a specific line. All right, here's another one. Say I wanted to find the perimeter of figure A, B, C, D, E, F. So A, B, C, D, E, F. That way to find this whole figure. So again, I look to see what numbers I have. I have a 4, but I see I'm missing B to C. So what I always check is, well, I see this is 3, so I know that this has to be 3, okay? And this is a rectangle, and because I know the opposite sides are equal, I know that this side is 9, so this whole side has to be 9. Well, I want to chop off this 3 and see what's left. 9 minus 3 is 6, so this first question mark has to be 6 meters. So, oops, that's 6, okay? So I have the only other one I need is C to D I don't have. Again, this whole side is 16, so then that means that this whole side has to be 16. So far, I don't know C to D, but I do know A to B is 4, so I know this has to be 4. So if I want to find what's missing, I kind of think it as a bar model, like this is my whole line, and I have a part, and I'm trying to find another part, so I subtract. So I have my 16, get rid of my 4, and then I end up having 12 left. And then I can put that there. And now I can add them all together. Again, when I do this, I take my trusty highlighter. Let me see if I can make it like thinner. There we go. And I add them up. So I start, and that's 4. And I go down, that's 6. I go across, that's 12. Down, I have a 3. Across, I have a 16. And then back up, I have a 9. And then what I would do is I would obviously add up all of these numbers just to make sure. So if I'm adding them all up, I have 9 plus 16 plus 4 plus 6 plus 12 plus 3, and I would get 250 all together. And I know that my answer is the perimeter equals 50, and I always check this through the label. This is meters, so I'm going to put meters. Again, I don't put squared because the perimeter does not get squared, because the perimeter isn't squared, it's just a straight line. Okay? Now, if I were going to also, because again, you're going to have to find eventually the area of these shapes. So we're going to move on to find some area. So let's see, not that. Okay, the area of a composite figure. Basically, what you have to realize is that when you find the area of a shape, you know that you are doing length times width. However, all the shapes we've been working with are rectangles or squares. Pretend that I'm good at drawing, and let's pretend that's a square even though it's not. What you have to do inside this composite figure is you have to find a way to split it up so you can make only rectangles and squares. So if I'm looking at, I want to look at this one. Okay, if I'm looking at this one, again, before I start, I always make sure I have all of my sides ready. I would first, I'm going to split this up. I'm going to make this here, so then I have one rectangle and another rectangle right there, okay? Now what I have to do is I have to find the area of this rectangle and the area of that rectangle and then put them together. Again, area equals how long it is times how wide it is. So if I look at this rectangle, I see that it is 6 miles long and 3 wide, so I know that I do 6 times 3, and I get 18. So I know the area of this first rectangle is 18, and then I always put my squared because when I find area, it's squared. All right, so I've done that one. Now I need to look down here at this one. This one's a little different because, look, they tell me the length of this is, length times width, is 8, but I don't know how wide it is. So I'm going to have to figure that out, okay? So I always look up. I know that this line is the same as this line. So I look here. Well, this side's 3. 3 plus what number will get me to the whole line, which is 6? Well, 3 plus 3. So I know that the width of this has to be 3. So I'm doing 8 times 3. Well, 8 times 3 is 24. So the area of this shape has to be 24. Whoops. And then the last thing that I have to do is I obviously want one area. I don't want to say there's 2 different areas. So if I have an area of 1, like say this is a kitchen and say this is a living room, if I want the total area, I have to put them together. So I take my area of my first one plus my area of my second one, and I get 42. And I have to put my label squared, and the area of that whole thing would be that. All right, we're going to do one more, and I want you to try it, and then press play when you're ready. All right, this one obviously has a weird shape. It's a composite figure. I'm going to split it right here. So I have one rectangle and another rectangle. First, I'm going to do the bigger one, and I'm going to find the length and the width. Well, area, here's the length. It's 12, and the width of this one is 4. So they give me that one right away. Okay, so I have, that one's 48. And then this one is a smaller one, and this one doesn't give me any numbers, so I have to look. Well, again, if this whole side's 12, this whole side has to be 12. I have a 6 and I have a 5, and that's 11. So this has to be 1 because I have 1 left over. So my width of this one, my area of this one is 1, and I have to find the length, okay? Well, look, they tell me that this is 6, so I know that's 6. So I know 1 times 6 is 6, so the area of this is 6. Last thing I have to do is put my 2 numbers together, and I have 48 plus my 6, and I get 54, and the area is 54 feet squared. Okay. If you want to, you can try this one. I am late for special, so I don't have time to actually go over it, but feel free to check it and then maybe ask your parents if you are right or not. All right, hopefully this was helpful, and check out, there'll be another video about one more 12.4. All right, bye guys.